Good morning. It's Friday again. All right. How it, this would have been a trade today for sure. It's just a setup that I don't know, I'm always looking for and others. Um, just a little nasty fall into a pivot. And look what happened here. Just bottomed out beautifully on the five and the rally. So where it goes now after that run, well, we'll see. But it's up at resistance, looking at the NASDAQ futures. And yeah, I mean, here's an opportunity, and that one's gone. So we'll see where this goes, but nice little rally. And overall, I mean, just look what's been going on is just whipping back and forth wherever we see. So, the title of today, this is a pattern of mass confusion. That's what it is. And it started with a breakout failure. And then the Trump comments on China, the nasty down move. And it's just chopping back and forth. And in part, this has to do with options expiration, which is pinning things, you know, relatively in a little bit of a wide range relative to the day to day. But I don't think it's going to go very far today, you know, out of this range back and forth. And yeah, like every day, we'll just see what sets up and take the opportunities as they're offered. Now, this one took out the lows, and that's why we keep an eye on several markets to see if they are moving together. One reaches support or one doesn't. Which one's showing relative strength, one relative weakness, one starts to move, the other one typically follows. Sometimes on a day-to-day or week-to-week basis, one is the leader or the one that moves things, and they take turns at times. So same little rally there in the S&Ps up to resistance, and now they're stalled. You can see momentum just stalling. That was the nice move, little consolidation buy with the little poke bar, so to speak, and that's a signal it's going to go higher. And it reached what was to the left, and now it's pulling in. Let's take a look at YM, which has been lagging. Similarly, this was there from yesterday or the day before, this little support area. So when we see them coming down there, ideally they take out the low, and then we begin to get a turn on a smaller time frame. But that's a setup that we look for, every day. And it could be on a intraday, it could be on a daily time frame. But intraday obviously gives profit potentials in the moment. So now maybe this can play some catch up. Maybe it can continue to move higher. I'll be looking for that today. And I'll see if at least consolidate. And the Russell came down to support as well, broke below the lows. So it was like, which one do you want to trade? Well, what I would have been looking for if this was during the trading day was which one was showing relative strength or weakness, which one began to move versus the other not moving, and of course the patterns on the smaller time frame. But they've all done the same thing coming off of the low. Yeah. What else is moving? Oil is continuing to decline. There's a little support right down here at 55. Then this bar right here, probably on a daily time frame. There's a pivot. Oh yeah, you can see it right there. You can see how the cursors line up, but it's really not that significant. But we'll see if it stalls there or not, or whether it continues to move down. How the market welcomes that or not. And there's our interest rates. It certainly looked like they were heading lower, and they are. There you go. Continuing to drop. And just like, the futures that we were just looking at with that setup, the same thing over here. It doesn't matter what it is. Every concept is universal. And that's why it's the truth. It's not some indicator setting in the horizontal line, some indicator setting or some Ichikumi cloud or whatever. Support resistance, supply demand, where people traded before. So interest rates potentially, as I'm looking at this, it's taking out those lows. They come down here, ideally take out the low and reverse. And with that in mind, we could be watching TBT to see if it falls down there. Bonds, pushing up. They hit this prior high, but ultimately, maybe they consolidate there, and this comes back up to go higher. And so we'll be watching interest rates today and of course next week to see if they continue to move down to those levels. Let's see with the 30-year interest rates. You can see similarly, the support's down there, but if the 10-year gets down to that support, this one may not get down there, but we'll be watching for that. But overall, I mentioned this yesterday, big mess, down, up, getting crushed back down to the lows here. And, the pivots down there, it should stabilize. And I think, with this stabilizing should keep the market somewhat subdued today. You can look at it as, the worst being over for the moment when financials, and this is bad, financials rolling over and, you know, banks already reporting and financials still going down. So there's these inflation concerns, tariff concerns, China concerns, Russia concerns, da, 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 da. And so things are pretty messy and confusing right now because any of these things can change. It's been Trump's MO. 100% tariffs. Oh no, let's put that off for a month, or we won't do that, and markets rally. Yeah, I read it, Alex. Risky loans that was out there about some of these commercial real estate things, and the interesting markets are always interesting, but um, that stuff was out there before, and now, at this time during an options expiration, which I think has some influence on that, things get cut loose, so to speak, and we'll see how this unfolds tomorrow. Well, not really tomorrow. Tomorrow's the weekend, but into next week after the options expiration is over, how things settle out or which way they're going to go. If futures bottoming out, so let's see if these things actually close like this or head back down. Bitcoin breaking through support. Look like they're heading down to the next level down here. And so rinse, wash, repeat. Look to the left, see if it stabilizes. It began to down here. This down here, buyers began to show up, and now it's breaking lower. So we assume it's going to go down to the next level. And we continue to do the same thing. Go to smaller time frame, look for it to stabilize, look to make the turn, look for a short-term trade, look for credit spreads, and do it over and over and over again. Seems kind of boring when you put it all in words, but this is what we love to do because there's money involved. But some things work out like here, as I was anticipating it would, because it was beginning to stabilize, and then it fails, and you go down and you watch the next level. Right. Let's see what else is moving here. All right. Let's see, the dollar looks like it's down a little bit. Yeah, so that fellow, but this is bottomed out. Well, interesting. I mentioned this before with interest rates moving lower, that it's held up as well as it has. But this should set up based on this pattern, a buy setup by next week. And we'll be watching for that or whether it moves lower. And so we look at patterns, we look to the left, we make some assumptions as to what should happen, gives us a bias, and then wait for something, a pattern, not something, a pattern to develop that's in alignment with our bias. That's what trading is. How you put it together, that's the art of it. All right. So let's spread this out. And prices are going to gap down. I'm looking where my cursor is, even with this rally. They're going to gap down a little bit. And just look over here. So they're going to gap down a little bit. Interesting. Okay. So just looking at, I got to go back and look at this again. All right. Just under 599 on that bottoming tail bar. 99-ish. So some sideways movement here. So at resistance, we always know that sellers are going to show up. So prices gap down a little bit after this run off of the low. And there's the same setup down there yesterday, down at the low, right? Just rattling around. So maybe a 30-minute high, maybe a 10-minute high, a 15, I don't know, whatever. Some consolidation there opens up the door to moving up. And that's what's been going on in this market. Up, down, up, down, up, down. And so this could be a trade today where it consolidates and then we get a rally back up toward yesterday's open. So there's an idea. And let's see what the spiders probably look similar. Where are they opening? Give or take. 660 down almost unchanged. And so about there. And it's got room to move up. It's got room to move down, of course. But here's what's going on. And so far, it's just consolidating at that resistance area. So taking out these highs. And, the mornings have been a little erratic, meaning that, first thing, some of these, there's been some failures, erratic price action, breakout failures or breakdown failures. So keep that in mind. There's a little schizo price action going on. Gold stalling, but higher, 4,400. And a little double top up there. And coming to support. Is it extended now? Yes. And you could have said, was it extended? Extended from a base supports a higher bias. Getting extended here, don't get cute and trade against the trend so quickly. And so now it's more extended, right? But maybe it's 4,500, maybe it tops there. I don't know. But there's no reason to be thinking short yet. It's beginning to go sideways there. Leave it alone. If you want to go long, something extended that far, probably make money when something's moving like this. Silver backing off a bit, also short-term extended. So they're consolidating, and again, options expiration is probably going to be chop. And I didn't even look here. Hold on a second. I got to look over here on another screen. Give me a second. Let me look where the spiders are. And of course, we already looked. Unchanged. Yeah, and give me a second. Let's see, go to SPX. So these were our extreme levels yesterday, 6,600. Part of our comments yesterday, probably staying between 66 and 6,700. It's going to open here. So let's see where the juice is today. Scroll. I'm looking at another screen. Oh, options expiration. It gets confusing on this other screen here as which ones mark. It's 25. Okay, it must be these 67.15. That Okay, so yesterday was a down day. That makes sense. They mix the monthlies with the weeklies on this other platform that I'm looking at. Okay, I'm gonna go with 64.20. That's not right. Oh, that's the bottom side. Yeah, that's right. It sure as hell ain't going down there today. I'm just looking at that in a little bit of a disbelief, but yesterday's down day, I suppose so. All right. No way is it going down there today. I say that like you can bet your life on it. Of course, anything's possible, but 66, 65, it ain't going there today. Well, yours, Dan.
And what's the premium there?
It is 90 cents by a dollar.
All right, cool. Yeah, when I woke up, um, looked at the gap down here, and then I looked at the chart. I was I was happy. I'm like, all right, another gap to this major support. And so I was immediately thinking 10, 15, 30-minute high, a zero GT put spread. No, look at that gap down. It's perfect. You just got to wait for stabilization at the open. And, you know, and Trump opened his mouth again, saying, "Oh, I think we'll play. Everything will work out with China." And Joe Kernan said something very interesting. I love him. He was talking to Becky about because they were talking about the regional bank crisis. Remember, the media always has us focused on something. What are we going to worry about today? And so Becky said, "Oh, we've negated the gap because Trump said China's going to play nice." And Kernan said, he said, "Oh, so that means that the market doesn't care anymore about the regional bank crisis over the last 2 days." Did you see his point, which is my point? If you got two big problems, China and um, the bank crisis, and I fix one of them, and I immediately negate the gap. What does that mean? That you don't care about the other problem anymore? That's just interesting.
I think it means traders didn't give a shit about either one and they just bought support.
I don't believe that. This is too robust. This is totally news driven because I was sitting there watching it on a 5, and I'm like, what the heck just happened? No, nobody knows the truth, but I don't believe that. I mean, look at it, you know, this breakout from here to here. That's news. That's not just buying support. Well, that's my view. All that matters is now going forward. Um, and going forward for today. Yeah, remember I said yesterday I thought today was going to be an inside day with the big range with option X. Um, it could go lower actually, but we'll just take it one by one. All right, alarms. Um, we have very light inventory. Now we're in this ACHC. I had a low alarm go off, and I don't see any prints, but this is a beautiful pattern to add. Um, it's a 1, 2, 3 from a buy setup. Looks great. We're already in it. XME. I've been watching this for a while. I mean, there's a ton of Climos, and metals and mining, gold, silver, the nuclear stocks I've been watching. They all turn this week. I was trying to do call spreads. Today's Friday. On Wednesday was the day to do it. It was just too illiquid. But look, things that do this, unless they come back, unless they get bought out, they will retrace. Guaranteed. It's just a matter of when and how. The whole, this one is more igniting, so that this one might set up as a buy setup. But look, USAR, look, another climber. Could have done the 45 call spread. 4 U's. And climbers everywhere. Let's go to oh, I just had an alarm on GoDaddy go off. So I see this look, let's just set my low alarm off so I move stop break even. That is a beautiful, beautiful short bear 1, 2, 3, 4, which is going to be MT live next Wednesday, trading stocks and options on 1, 2, 3 patterns. So that is an open short. We have a full position. Let's go to earnings now. So yeah, we all know the news. Regional banks got killed, and Jamie Dimon set the alarm on that the other day, like his cockroach comment, and I actually was shocked the markets didn't react to it. And then there's a bank or two that came out and dropped their drawers telling him about additional losses. Maybe 30-minute high, we can do some 0 DTE put spreads. CSX I like. I'm gapping over a red bar. 30-minute high, 0 DTE put spread if there's any juice. Interactive broker, no pattern. No pattern. Ozark. Fill the gap. Again, 30-minute high, maybe. It's today's option X, so we do everything will have 0 DTEs today. But then many of them only have monthlies starting next week. Glacier Bancorp pattern. This one's actually gapping up a little bit, but I mean, if there's any juice at 18, then 10-minute high, sure. I don't see any prints. No prints. That's sloppy pattern. Wow, American Express of 8. All right, that has to be helping the Dow. That's the biggest gainer. So that's a put spread. If there's any juice, maybe the 3 1/4. Put that in my other window. I'll watch that. EFC. Gapping at 42. Again, I think any of these 30-minute high, you can do 0 DTE. A slob, same. So I mean, I do not have many swing setups here. We got a mess. Wow, that one's gapping down. 108. Now, trades like this that are gapping under, I want them to sell off more. So ideally, it sells off another $2 or so. Oh, back to the Dow, I forgot to say, when I looked up, Goldman and JP Morgan are the second and third. Well, that's actually a bullish pre-market, 15. So 295s could be an idea. Put that on the list. Or, maybe just XLF. Yeah. Yeah, 30-minute high. This one typically doesn't have any premium, but if there's any at 51.50. ST2, Fit B gapping up. That's a nice 15-minute also, 30-minute high. So just same old. It's option traders. We're gonna need some help here looking at the premiums, 30-minute highs. These are all very similar looking. Alley's actually Alley's the most bullish. That's a directional. So I will put that in a window. Alley. EMA. At least it's above the 20 and an uptrend. I mean, they're all the same. That's auto live. Looks kind of all right, those are all the earnings. Charlie's asking about Wendy's. He says, is it making a turn? The answer is, I don't know. So how you would objectively answer it is, remember your mom told you make 2 columns, write down the things that might suggest it's bottoming. Is this a bullish new low reversal? No. It's a big green bar. But I got, it's in a downtrend, daily, weekly, monthly, railroad tracks. So I need a lot more information before I can answer that. That's the quick answer. Tell. This, I like the 15, maybe 15-minute high. Start with a day trade. It might turn into a swing. It's back up to this high, going sideways. But I like the 15. It holds. Miscellaneous stuff, NBO. That's a bear gap down. That could be a 30-minute low short. NBO and Lilly are down with Trump saying he's going to make weight loss drugs cheaper. Another Climo here. Look at this friggin' run. That was an amazing wide range breakout. But this is another call spread Climo. This one's, some of these Bitcoin miners have been unusually stronger than Bitcoin. Like over the years, they would move together. And look at WGMI, the ETF. That's a call spread too, but I don't think this thing has weeklies. But look, why does Bitcoin miners look like this? And Bitcoin looks as a climb up. It's horrible. WGMI, yeah, there's no weeklies. How stupid. You would think. I'd be all over this for selling them $70 call spread for next week. But doesn't exist. All right, Elon alarm is Elon over yesterday's high. I like. Let me set a new alarm, 2075. 70. LNTH. Let's move stop 5-minute low. We were in trail mode. We've been long this. We're just trailing. Well, we actually have 2/3 left. Oh, and a game. Yeah, I don't have many lines going off at all. I mean, partially because we have light inventory, but the other reason is I didn't set very many because I don't have many compelling patterns. Him's alarm went off. We did a put spread on that yesterday. It's, victim of the market. We have the 54s, so it's an early alarm. All right, Reddit is on my list. All right, this I think's a 10-15 minute low trade. It was holding relative strength yesterday, just the fact that it didn't crack. But I said, if it does crack, then we're going to do it. Well, let's just give it a few minutes here. I want to see what the broader markets do. Oh, the XX I posted as a call spread today. Wow, Alex, remember what were we looking at? The 46s yesterday? We were trying to short the 1 DTEs and I didn't get filled. I tried. But they were unusually spreading. AXP is still moving. So look, even pre-market with that sell-off, it went up to 43. So now, no, there's zero. Wow, the spreads are still asinine. Asinine. The 44s are 2 cents by 66. Asinine spreads. All right, look at CSX. I said I liked. That's a bullish gap over big red bar. 36.50 puts for today, 10 cents by 20. That's not enough for me on an earnings stock. AXP looks good. Elon up alarm, I mentioned. This I would do the 325s for today. 25 by 93 on a liquid Dow 30 stock. That is insane. Wow, these market makers, when volatility's high, man, they like to rape you. Alley, I said, was a beast. That was the best gapper of the banks. I would do the 39s for today. 10 cents by 35, and there's no weeklies, or else I would consider next week. All right, see this pre-market data on the spiders, it's holding very well. 100% retracement and kind of a, bull flag looking thing there. Let me look on spiders, how low we can go for zero. Things are kind of neutral here. 652. There's juice, the 650s for 48 cents. That's $10 lower. All right, I'm gonna do that myself. Shoot, I didn't get it filled. They dropped it on me. Shoot, I was hitting a bid at 47 and okay, now I just got filled. There. But it's just zero DTE. This daily is actually a bear 123 if it closes like this. And I'm not even confident enough to give it the subscribers yet. Maybe 15-minute high, something like that. But I just did a one lot. Actually, no, my stop's gonna be the day's low. Alex, do you know what a stop loss means? It means if it takes out the day's low, I will close this position at a loss. You're welcome. All right, Elon alarm. Look at Elon, looks great. I mean, you have not heard me say many swing patterns look great today, have you? I just want to make sure the market's going to hold here, but this looks great. This is, particularly if it closed like this, then the anchor would be today's high, stop yesterday's low. Ricky, that's just a junky pattern to me, but 15-minute is the buy setup on pre-market support. DHR, yeah, that morning whip stopped us out, break even on the back half, but we sold half at a profit. Silver low alarm, that's a 180 if it closes like this. We only have a third left, I think, with a stop under this bar. What's that, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday? All right, Q's moving up, Spider's moving up. All right, LNTH, now the new stop, 55.88. Man, I sure didn't get very far, did it? I just think that's going to be the theme today. I really do. I'm going to keep a tight leash on my spider here. Actually, I'm going to put a contingent stop in because they're liquid. And I'll just pay market price on the way out. So my stop will be 658.68. Actually, I just killed it right there. It's small loss. Yeah, we moved ours to break even. But look at Reddit here. I'm still watching. Reddit. I'd love a 30-minute low, but I'm thinking even earlier. Oh yeah, our GoDaddy alarm just went off. So yeah, we're out break even too. Shoot.